Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to show you how to write repeating decimals as fractions using algebra. So we're talking about decimals such as 1/10 repeating or 0.546 repeating, something that just repeats endlessly. How do we write those as fractions? We know that they are rational numbers. The definition of a rational number is something that can be written as a fraction, and we are told that repeating decimals are rational numbers, so there is a way to write repeating decimals as fractions. But how do you do that unless you know exactly what they are? Like common repeating fraction or common repeating decimal is 3/10 repeating. We know that's 1/3, so that's commonly known. But what if they're not commonly known? How do you do it? Well, I'm going to show you how using algebra. So here's the 4 steps that you follow. First, you're going to use the variable n. You're going to write n equals and then whatever decimal it is you're looking for. So maybe you're looking for 7/10 repeating. So I would have n equals 7/10 repeating. Then I would multiply each side by 10 if only one decimal repeats, 100 if 2 decimals repeat, and so on. So 7/10 repeating, I've got one digit that's repeating a 7. So I'm going to multiply by 10. All right. If it was something like 0.546 repeating, I would multiply by 1,000. All right, because I've got 3 digits repeating. All right, and then once I did that, I would subtract my original equation from my new equation. All right, and after I have worked that out, I would just solve for n. So let's see what it looks like in action. All right, here we are solving for 7/10 repeating, 0.77777, and so on. All right, so my first step is to write n equals whatever it is. So I write n equals 0.777, 7/10 repeating. So I've only got one digit repeating. I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 10, and that's what this shows you. So when I do that, I get 10n. Since we don't know what n is, you just write 10n equals 7.7/10 repeating. 7/10 repeating times 10 is 7.7/10 repeating. All right, my next step is going to be to subtract my original equation from my new equation. So that's what this shows you here. So I have 10n equals 7.7/10 repeating minus n equals 0.7/10 repeating. All right, so that gets rid of the repeating decimal. If I'm really just subtracting the repeating decimal from the repeating decimal. All right, and I'm left with 9n, because I have to subtract 1n from 10n. 9n equals 7. Now, to solve, you would divide n by 9. And I would have to divide 7 by 9 as well. All right? That is simply the fraction 7/9. It's a pretty neat process. I really enjoy it. All right, let's practice on a few. So let's start with 6/500ths repeating. So I would begin by writing my equation, n equals 6/500ths repeating. All right. Next, because I've got 2 digits repeating, I'm going to multiply by 100. All right. So multiplying n by 100 is simply 100n. 6/500ths repeating times 100 is going to be 65 and 6/500ths repeating. Next, I'm going to subtract my original equation from my new equation. So I'm going to subtract 1n equals 6/500ths repeating. All right, and I will get 99. 100n minus 1n is 99n. 99n equals 65. Finally, I would divide by 99, and I would get 65/99. And as far as I know, that does not simplify. All right, So, I mean, that's all there is to it. It's pretty simple. Let's try 723 thousandths repeating. So I write n equals 723 thousandths repeating. I'm going to multiply this by 1,000 because 3 digits are repeating. So I have 1,000n equals 723.723 thousandths repeating. I'm going to subtract my original equation . So that'll give me 999n equals 723. Divide by 999. So 723 over 999, which can simplify. So yeah, this can simplify, but let's just move on. So this is the fraction you would get, and then you would just continue to simplify it. All right, how about 3/10 repeating? This is a common one. We know what it is, but let's just practice the method here. Switch colors up. So 3/10 repeating, I just write n equals 3/10 repeating. I'm going to multiply by 10 since only one digit is repeating. So 10n equals 3 and 3/10 repeating. I'm going to subtract n. And I will get that 9n equals 3. Divide by 9, and I get 3/9. All right. 3/9 can simplify to 1/3. Last one, 1500ths repeating. So n equals 1500ths repeating. I'm going to multiply by 100 since I've got two digits. Whoops. Subtract my original equation. I would get 99n equals 15. Divide by 99. 15/99, which can simplify by 3, and that would give us 5/33. Okay, so I really like this. I think it's very interesting. It's very cool. Maybe you don't. You don't have to agree with me, but I do hope that you learned something.